Okay, so we are very, very fortunate to have a sponsor for today's class. We've got Jorge from Fidelity joining us today. So I'm going to hand it over to Jorge.
Thank you. Thank you. I was telling Alice that my wife helped. We picked all the fruit fresh, made all the bagels fresh, never mind the boxes. But as Adrian mentioned, I'm Jorge with Fidelity National Title. It's truly a privilege to be able to sponsor and be here for you guys to provide breakfast. We're happy to do it. If there's other things we can be able to help out with you all, we appreciate it. I know you're going to talk about AI, you're going to talk about technology. So I'll talk about some of the things that we can do in Fidelity through technology. So I work on the sales side, I work on the marketing side. I'm not smart enough to close the deals, but I help just with marketing. So to help you get more business, help you generate new opportunities, there's a bunch of different things that we can do to be able to help you out. Technology-wise, specifically, there's some other stuff that I won't mention, like postcards or door hangers or different things like that. We do that all day long. But on the technology side, if you haven't seen our app, it's phenomenal. Fidelity Agent 1 or fidelityagent.com will help you not only with net outs and to do buyer's estimates and different things like that. So my seller wants to know, how much am I going to net from this transaction? That's where Fidelity Agent will come in and get you the net out for your transaction, the proceeds. But in addition to that, it's got a ton of social media, different presentations and different things that you can post on social media. So you always have content. It's got stuff coming up here pretty soon for Halloween. You'll have stuff for the holidays. You'll have stuff for 4th of July, but you also have interest rates over the last 50 years. So that as your buyers are concerned and saying, oh, rates are so high, well, here's a poster, here's something I can show you that says rates actually over the course of 50 years, they're not as terrible as you think they are. And so you have that. You also have swipeable graphics, different lenses and filters you can do. So that's one huge thing Fidelity Agent has. And it's, for the most part, it's free, or there is a premium version. You can do some different things with it. But if you'll check out the app, you'll like it. And it's an amazing tool. Secondly, I'll mention Breakthrough Broker. So I know some of you have seen Breakthrough Broker. There's actually a component that Fidelity has exclusively that can provide you with new and different content that you may not have seen before. Things that will include a business profile. And when you have a new listing, automatically, it'll create 10 different marketing pieces. Flyers, brochures, door hangers, all kinds of different things, and social media. As soon as you have a new listing and you're signed up through Breakthrough Broker, it'll automatically create it for you without any hesitation. There's a bunch of different things that we can do to be able to help you out. And that's my job, is to be able to make sure that you've got all the tools that you need to be able to grow your business and generate new opportunities and help your kids. So whatever we can do to help you as a realtor and future realtors, let us know. My information's in the back. I've got cards. I'll stick around for a minute. But whatever we can do to be able to help out, let me know, and we're happy to do. So thank you for the opportunity to sponsor.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you. Bring up the slide. Okay. So real quick, before we get started, so before we go into introductions, Taryn and I have been making a point to do this, and because we are realtors, because we have a code of ethics, we do want to just read a disclaimer real quick. Okay. So AI is a useful tool in real estate, but it shouldn't overshadow professionalism and ethical conduct. Real estate professionals have a responsibility to serve clients with integrity and expertise. While AI offers insights, it has limitations and can't replace the human aspect. Yeah. Professionals should validate AI results and rely on their knowledge and experience. The code of ethics is crucial, emphasizing honesty and client interests. AI is a resource to enhance services, but professionals must stay knowledgeable and follow ethical standards. Trust, knowledge, and service are key. All right. And just full disclosure going forward with this. So just to show you all the power of AI and technology and where we're at today, myself, Richard, Tego, and Taryn actually decided not even to show up today. So what you're actually seeing are holographic representations of, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So
We're far from it, though.
not far. So I'm Adrian Reyes. I am the Director of Technology, also known as the Market Center Tech Trainer for Keller Williams. And I'm going to let you individuals introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Rich Gibbens. I'm Executive Director of Southwest MLS.
Tego Venturi, I am the current president of Southwest MLS for the second time. And yeah, anyway, I know you guys, a lot of you guys know me.
And love you.
The what?
And love you.
And we love you, Alice. Alice was my broker for how many years? Long time. So just a little background on both Richard and I, we're both nerds, okay? Probably. I got very involved in the tech side of real estate, back many years ago. We didn't even have a tech committee at NAR. So I was the first chair of that committee. I've been involved with all the back end stuff, on Southwest MLS for many years. Richard, I just gotta say, Richard came to us, what, 2 years now? Been longer
A
now.
little over 2 years,
A
yeah.
little over 2 years.
Richard used to be my tenant back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah,
Did
yeah.
he pay on time?
He rented one of my Airbnbs when he first got.
Ah, okay.
Sure did.
There you go.
It was a nice one too.
So Richard, he was recruited out of Florida to come and run the MLS here in Albuquerque. And I gotta tell you, he's been amazing, just from a leadership at our standpoint and what he's been able to do for us. He's very connected in the MLS world, which is a very odd little kind of nerdy world.
Very.
Which is really good, but there's so much tech that comes through the MLS world, right? Because we have all the data, right? And they all want it. But on top of that, we were one of the first MLSs, we were the first MLS to roll out an AI app that actually looks at every single photo that we upload to our MLS and categorizes it and decides if it's compliant to our rules, which require, multiple different photos, a front photo, a bedroom, or not a bedroom, front kitchen.
Front of the house, backyard, kitchen, each bathroom in the living room.
Yeah, so,
Minimum photos rule.
and we were the first MLS to do that.
The first one to use it in that way. Yeah, the
Yeah,
first one to use the room top model.
Yeah. So, I mean, AI tools have been out there, obviously, as soon as ChatGPT kind of came out. It was funny because you and I, maybe a year ago,
Mhm.
you were sitting in your office playing with the sandbox. Everybody's familiar with the original ChatGPT sandbox? Okay, that was like the first, iteration. And it wasn't ChatGPT, it was just called
It was OpenAI chat.
OpenAI chat.
Yeah,
And then they rolled out ChatGPT. But now what's happened in every industry is there's been a gazillion different iterations of what you can do with the AI. And so what we're going to talk about is I'm going to talk about how I use it in my business. Can you bring up
Yeah. You want me to switch it to that one?
Yeah, can you switch it to that one? Is it difficult? Because what Adrian asked us to do was talk about leverage. And hey, look at that slide. Where'd that come from? So I have a whole training class on leverage. I actually was a co-owner of a virtual assistant company at one time. I got out of that just because I didn't need another job. So I have this whole class on leverage. But right from KWU, I don't know if this is out of MREA, I think it is, it's out of the Business Planning Clinic, is when we talk about leverage in our business, there's basically three types. You've got the obvious, the people leverage, right? You hire somebody, like who's gonna do it? You hire somebody to help you out. You have your systems leverage. So the system is how are you going to do it, right? And what's the process, right? How do you take it from contract to close, for example? And then the last thing are your tools. What tools are you going to do to help you be more efficient in your real estate business? And that's really what we're going to focus on today, is the tools piece of it. So I just wanted to start with that because that was it. Now we can switch back. Sorry.
No, all good. All good. Sharon, you want to introduce yourself?
So a lot of you know me. For some of you who don't, my name's Taryn. I'm a broker here at Keller Williams, but I'm also a certified digital marketer. So I help realtors with their social media management, lead generation, ISA services, and it's been a privilege and a pleasure to be a part of this AI journey. And thank you for each and every single one of you who've been here with us through this journey. Absolutely.
Taryn, about 6 months ago, I was talking to somebody, they're a marketer
Mhm.
and a marketing person. And I said, so how are you using, AI in your business? Said, what's that? how are you using ChatGPT in your business? I don't know, I've never heard of it, like, what? How can you be in marketing without understanding this?
I had a similar conversation with the client last night where the team they hired was not using AI. And I've heard it from numerous different people, but it's AI is not gonna replace anybody, but the people who are using it, that's gonna replace a lot of the people in the industry who are not. And so it's just a huge advancement, especially in the realm of marketing. Especially in the realm of marketing, it's had a huge impact.
Richard, you want to take it?
I'll take it away from my point here. So what I like to do with AI is along the lines of what Tego was talking about with systems, right? Is bringing you guys some real like practical applications, stuff you can use every single day. One of the things that drives me a little bit batty with AI is we're always pie in the sky, right? I'm going to talk about, first I'm going to kind of explain how computers work so you can kind of get a really basic understanding of AI and how you really have to tell it exactly every single thing you want it to do. And then I have some prompts that you can literally use every single day. That's not sexy. It's not going to blow your mind, but it is going to make your life a lot easier and save you a lot of time. Which is feedback I get quite a bit from realtors that, this pie in the sky stuff is a little over their head. So one of the things I want to point out just right off the bat is every single slide in this presentation has a different background. They're all created by Bing Image AI, which is just, image.bing.com, something like that.
I can't keep up. That's like old school now.
Yeah, it is old school now, actually. Ideogram.ai is my new favorite, but the prompt for every single one of these is on the bottom here. So I just put PowerPoint background for talk about practical applications of artificial intelligence, and it created this background for me. So before, if you were doing a different background on every PowerPoint slide, it's a lot of work. You got to go find it, find the right one. Okay, this person doesn't look right, but now using AI, this is one example of you can add a lot of visual interest to PowerPoint slides. So before I dig in directly, I do want to spend about 5 minutes giving you all a little bit of background about the history of the computer, right? So if there's any recovering computer science majors in the room, I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance that I'm going to really oversimplify this and you're going to hate it, but I have the floor, so it is what it is. But like this tweet alludes to, if you ever, like it says, remember a CPU is literally a rock that we tricked into thinking. And that's kind of true. So, and anybody ever feel like this is a comic called XKCD. There's always a relevant XKCD. What I'm trying to do is really simple. It shouldn't be hard. All computers are just carefully organized sand. Everything is hard until someone makes it easy. Maybe I should turn this one back into sand. I'll find a blowtorch. And what I want to focus on is that sentence right there, that everything is hard until someone makes it easy. Because really, at their core, computers really are just carefully organized sand and rock. And I don't say that jokingly. They're literally made out of silicone, silicon, not silicone. They're two different things. So silicon is actually derived from silica rock, which is often found in quartz. So we have lots of it in our mountains, right? But again, not to be confused with silicone, which is like, your rubbery plastic, your armbands, your cooking utensils, that's a different thing. So this is what a microchip of a computer looks like under a microscope. So, every one of these channels is either silicon or gold. So it's just carefully organized rocks is all it is. And then each one of these little circuits here, when you look at them, they're kind of molded into channels, and they are literally just an on-off switch. There's off, which is 0, and there's on, which is 1. So the only thing we do is tell computers a series of 0s and 1s to do more and more complicated things. So, over time, we grew from a single circuit to multi-circuits, and then you have in the right here, this is a 6-circuit byte. So everything with a computer, everything it does is really just super complicated math. That's all it is. They're not magic. They don't think. They don't do anything special. It's just the math has gotten more and more complicated over the years. So this is an example of what binary code looks like. So this slide's actually redundant. All those 0s and 1s is what it takes a computer to understand the title of the slide, how computers talk. So all it is just a series of 0s and 1s turning certain circuits on and off. And then over time, programming languages came out. So this is a programming language called assembly code. This is like one of the most basic low-level programming languages that basically took 0s and 1s and made it into something a little more understandable for humans. And then over time, it's just built on that. This is Java and C on the right. Java, oh, I'm sorry, C on the left, Java on the right. So these languages just kind of kept building on each other. And all AI is, at its absolute core, is the latest version of all this building on each other. We had algorithms, like for example, Siri or Google Voice Assistant, right? You talk to those things, they're a little rudimentary, right? You have to say exactly the right thing, but they did some cool stuff. So the next evolution of that, just kind of building and building and building and building, is AI. It's a very, 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 very complicated algorithm. So that's going to bring us to our first ChatGPT prompt of the day. So I just asked ChatGPT, please explain in layman terms the steps it takes for a computer to ingest, calculate, and display a simple function such as 2 + 2. And this is all the steps that a computer has to go through to calculate 2 + 2. So don't read the whole thing, please, for the love of save your brain. But input, tokenization, parsing, calculation, execution, memory update, and display. Every one of those steps has to happen just to calculate and display 2 + 2. So again, the point I'm trying to create here is that computers are good at doing exactly what you ask them to incredibly quickly. That's it. So as you're working with these prompts, as you are working through any of these AI tools that Tego is going to show you, keep that in the back of your mind, that you have to find a way to take your expertise and insert it into the AI because it doesn't have that expertise. That I absolutely love the disclaimer that Adrian and Taryn have created here, because that point about the professional is still at the center of this is so important, and it always will be. Of course, there's parts of your job that are going to become automated over time by AI, but going back to the comic, everything is hard until someone makes it easy. So every step of this process with computers has just taken something hard, making it slightly easier, slightly easier, slightly easier. So the thing that the example I use with ChatGPT and things these days is, ChatGPT is to writing what the calculator is to math. It's something that, you have a third grade teacher who said, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. Anybody, so same deal, look at it that same way and look at the ways that AI can help replace those rudimentary parts of your business. One of the things I say is, anybody ever seen that list, that 179 ways a realtor is worth every penny?
Yep.
You've seen that list? Go through that list with 2 different highlighters, and I want you to do something. I want you to highlight anything that's just process. The only thing it is process. Coming up with this thing, delivering this thing, whatever it is. Whatever they are is process, highlight those in one color. The other things that require critical thinking, that you have to actually think through and solve a problem, highlight them in another color. And then stand back and look at that sheet. Anything that's highlighted in the process color, AI is going to replace. Anything that's highlighted in the critical thinking color is your value proposition. So that's just a really practical way to look at what AI is going to do. So again, I'm not going to beat this up too bad because Adrian's disclaimer did a really good job of it. Proofread everything. It does not excuse you from your responsibility to consumers or brokers. And then of course, he mentioned code of ethics, but specifically standards of practice 1210 that talks about avoiding manipulating listing data or content in a way that produces a deceptive or misleading result. So that's the thing to keep in mind with AI. So hopefully that gives you kind of a practical view of it to start with. And then what I want to do next is give you a couple examples of some actual uses of AI. So give me a second to switch the screen over here. No, wrong one. Duplicate. There we go. And then get the Zoom started again. This screen. Key changes. Okay. So, wrong one. This one. And then I also need. So one of the examples I like to use just to show people is not even real estate related. So anybody ever have trouble coming up with what you want to eat for the week? So this is a prompt that says, let me hide these controls so I can see. I have 2 pounds of chicken breast, a 3-pound beef roast, 3 pounds of ground beef, and a dozen eggs. I have an average collection of seasonings and kitchenware. Using this information, please create a 5-day meal plan to fill 3 people with as few extra ingredients as possible. So this is just a bare bones, basic, practical example of a way you can do this. And one of the things you'll see as it creates this, We'll see if this specific example does, but it'll even say things like, use the remaining ground beef to make fried rice. So it's actually calculating how much it needs for each of the meals before it, and then saying, okay, you should have some of this left over. So use that to create this for you. And then we can take this even a step further. I'm going to close this one just because I keep hitting the wrong one. That's driving me crazy. I'm going to tell it to take that same meal plan, but make it more keto friendly. So take the same meal plan, make it more keto friendly by replacing ingredients that are high in carbs with lower carb substitutions. So this is just, this is an example of having to be very specific with my instructions. So it goes through and it does things, and like you saw, it replaced tortillas with lettuce wraps. It replaced, let's see, the spaghetti. What did it do with that? Replaced regular pasta with zucchini noodles or shirataki noodles. So just a real practical, how much time do we waste every week making a meal plan? And we just did it in 2 minutes. Another fun one. So this actually is going to more on the real estate side. And this is one I'm sure you guys have played with, but the idea of writing a property description. So one of the examples I always hear when people talk about property descriptions is, oh, fair housing, fair housing, fair housing. All you have to do is add a sentence like, please refrain from mentioning people or characteristics of people. And then when it writes that property description for you, it won't mention people or characteristics of people. So now you're
I
done.
looked at right at Alice when you said that, and she's like,
Right.
you approved.
Right,
Okay.
right. So just this is an example, because when people just say, oh, write a property description, AI just thinks in terms of marketing. Yeah, you want to sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? Like that's a core principle of marketing. In real estate, not so much, because the sizzle sometimes talking about people and families and things you're not supposed to mention. So you tell it, don't mention people or characteristics of people, and it writes a perfectly fine property description for you. Let me come down here and pull out a funny one.
Does anybody use this for property descriptions? Yeah. If nothing else, what I've found, it gives you a good starting point. It gets the creative juices flowing, and then you can kind of, is that what you've been doing? Kind of tweak it from there?
Right.
Yeah.
You can be funny with it. Somebody asked a question on Facebook. How would you describe a house that's in really bad condition? So I told it to write a humorous property description of a house that is unsafe to enter, has holes in the roof, collapsed forward, and is generally dilapidated. Do not mention people or characteristics of people, should be 800 characters left. Introducing Quirky Quake Haven, a home that defies gravity with its avant-garde open roof concept, allowing nature's finest elements to mingle indoors. Perfect for stargazing enthusiasts seeking a celestial shower experience. The ground floor has graciously merged with the basement to create a truly inclusive atmosphere, ensuring no room is left untouched by the allure of subterranean sheep. This gravity-defying masterpiece is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for those who embrace a down-to-earth lifestyle. If you plug that in, like I almost guarantee you end up on Zillow Goes Wild, right? I mean, Zillow Gone Wild. Because so you can have some fun with it, right? Let me see what other examples I have here. Hold on just a second. Oh, this is a good one. So you can also utilize it and do things like, I'm going to tell it in the next prompt, I'm going to pay some data. Please pull out just the addresses from this data and provide it in a list. It's going to say, okay, certainly I can help you, blah, blah, blah. And what I'm going to pull here. So what I did is, if this is in Flex and you pull up a list of properties and you just copy the list. Just copy exactly what's there. So you can see it has all this extra junk in it. It has the click here to mark this listing as recommended, click here for hidden agent view, and all this other stuff. I'm going to go back over here to ChatGPT, and I'm just going to paste in that gobbledygook of data and hit enter. And it's going to pull out just the addresses from that list. So, instead of having to get like in Flex right now, you can do this by changing your report, changing the list style. There's a lot of work you can do if you want just a list of addresses, or just have ChatGPT do it for you.
This is one I've used a lot.
Yes.
You have a large data set. Let's say you download your database, right? And you want to just extract the email addresses.
Yep.
Put it in there. Just give me all the email addresses.
Which is actually my very next
And you can
example.
say format it. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
So that's this very next example. So please take this list of names and emails and extract only the emails, putting them into a format that can be copied into Gmail without causing errors. Because if you take this and you just plug it into Gmail, it tries to make every name an email address, and it gets messy, right? So same deal. Please take this list of names and extract only the emails. And then it extracts it in like a code format, which makes it easier to copy and paste. So if you take that and plug that into Gmail, you're done. So that was just kind of the point I had here of just look for these ways. Like what I tell people is anytime you're sitting at a computer and you find yourself doing something repetitive, chances are ChatGPT can do it for you or some other AI. There's like literally thousands of them, and Tego's going to go over a bunch of them here in a second. But just think about that, have that kind of in the back of your head. Can ChatGPT do this for me? And take 10 seconds, just go ask it. Sometimes it's not going to work, but most often it will. So that's the kind of the main point I want to bring across is just keeping those practical applications and probably find some ways to save your system. Save yourself time, no, well, and money. Any questions on that before I pass it to Tego? Go ahead.
It's really simple. Like, where are you putting this stuff in? If you're not putting it into Google, you're putting it, you're putting this request in someplace.
Yep, it's chat.openai.com. And you can sign up. If you have a Google account, it's free and you can sign up. Tego pays for the version. So some of the stuff he's going to show is going to be paid version stuff. But everything I just showed you is all free version. All free version. Yes.
On ChatGPT, it only goes up to 2021 with the knowledge, right?
Correct.
Is there other AIs that go further, like the present day?
Not free ones. Like that if you pay for it, it pulls the internet, right?
No, there's actually, you can get it from, somebody, did you have a suggestion? Or question? Yeah, you can use, here, let me give you a couple, Claude. It's a company called Anthropic. It's free, you can do a few, but they have more up-to-date data. The other thing is if you have ChatGPT 4, you do the upgrade $20 a month. It has web built into it as well, where you can now search the web at the same time as you're using it. So, but Claude has it for free. It's CLAUDE.ai.
And OpenAI is actually, they just announced last week that they are web crawling again. So ChatGPT will be getting updated past 2021 here very soon.
And
so
what I
calling via Beam.
And what I found is using it as a assisted Google search is helpful, but you got to be kind of careful because it's known to hallucinate on specific data. But using it for, again, writing, rewriting, extracting, I use it a lot for reading, basically taking a PDF document or a whole website or web page and say, give me an executive summary of this, right? I've got an app, there's an app called Verily. Verily, it's a plugin and it kind of lives in your Chrome browser. And it'll basically, you click and it'll say, hey, give me an executive summary of what's on this page. Instead of reading this long blog post where they're just, a bunch of spam, it gets to the point right away. And so I use that one a lot.
There's also Bard through Google, which they did announce that Bard is actually being opened up as an extension through Google Workspace. So everything that includes, which includes like YouTube and like Google Travel and like all those types of things. So they're advancing really, really quickly.
We have three more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
So if I joined, I don't know if it was that, but I installed something and it did something to my voicemail and I just I couldn't even like get out of it. I couldn't cancel that. It freaked me out. So like I shocked. So I don't know, is this something that you guys are promoting? Like, is it D2 install?
That's one of the reasons why I like dip your toes in the water with ChatGPT. Because it's browser based, it's not going to take over anything, and it just gets you used to it, right? Tego is going to talk about a lot of tools that are amazing, but I understand they can be a little intimidating, I think is a good word, right?
You need for those other softwares.
Right, because that's the thing. Like for example, there was one that I tried out the other day called SaneBox. And it's supposed to be like a inbox management software. And I installed it and it immediately took a bunch of emails that it thought should go in a folder, created the folder and stuck them in the folder. And I was like, whoa, slow down. yeah, pump the brakes, right? So even someone with technical aptitude, that kind of stuff happens too. So,
Because I mean, it took somebody 10 times longer to make a phone call, get through it because of that. And they were
Yeah.
Is this gonna automatically?
ChatGPT will not.
Will not.
Yeah, will not. Yeah. So ChatGPT is all browser based. It doesn't interact with anything else. It's a good place to dip your toes in the water, play with it a little bit, get comfortable with it. Because again, if you don't get comfortable with it, you're getting replaced. I mean, it's harsh, but it's true. So it's just a place to start getting comfortable with AI and using those practical applications.
And specifically what Komo's talking about is productive AI,
Mhm.
right? So I know. So and Como and I have both tried. In fact, there's other people in the office that I know are utilizing productive AI. I feel like Steve Redlinsky, I know, has it. But in our experience with it has been polar opposite. So I use productive AI because it connects directly with our CRM. Right? It connects with command. So for me, for when somebody's calling me, they do experience the AI immediately, right? The AI gets on the phone and tells them, hey, your call's about to be recorded. They don't hang up, then that's consent. So they proceed, and our conversation is completely recorded and then transcribed, right? And so then at the end of the call, person hangs up. Anything that was mentioned in the call, the AI is going to create either calendar events or tasks related to the conversation and will automatically put those into command for me. So I've been testing this for about a month now. I've got it connected and it's working beautifully for me, right? So with regards to like some level of technical aptitude and setting up and the settings and everything, yes, absolutely. I believe that there is some level of that. And if we wanted to try to gain FOMO, I think we would just really need to dig into like the settings and your phone and what's going on there with that integration. But my experience with Productive has been amazing because anything that's talked about, if you're talking to clients on that phone call and you're talking about the transaction, you're talking about contractual things, you never miss anything, right? You don't ever miss anything. So if they're like, you know, you didn't mention this to me, and this happened or whatever, and now like I'm considering suing you. You can go back through your timeline in commands, look at every single conversation that you've had with them, look at the transcriptions, or you can even just search it, and you can find where you talked about that, and you can send it to them. You're like, we did talk about this, so maybe let's not go. You didn't ask it.
And going back to my analogy with the calculator, like you don't have a math problem. You go, okay, calculator, go. Right? It's a tool.
Yeah.
You have to tell it what to do. So look at AI the same way. It's not here to replace you. It's not here to take sections of your life for you. It's here to be used as a tool to make those sections better.
Exactly.
So I just brought up futuretools.io, which is kind of the OG of databases or directories for AI tools. And just to give you an example, there's 2,284 tools on here. And when we say it's a tool, so we had to get clear here. So ChatGPT or OpenAI, same thing, that's the engine. But what's happened is people have iterated around that and built tools that use that API to go, basically build and do things that you want to do. I saw one, it was called snarky.gpt or something like that, snarky GPT, where it was like, you put in a comment and it gives you a snarky answer back, right? It was, just stuff like that. People are doing all these different things, and that's just on text, right? So when we're talking about, and that's what I wanted to get to. When we talk AI, there's a lot of different types of the way AI has been used. We're talking about ChatGPT. We're talking about a large language model, right? Where it's using words, and it's really just, which is kind of one of the big insights has been that we all just use words in the same patterns over and over again. That's why it knows what to do. It's just basically repeating those patterns, repeating patterns. But then there's the imaging, and again, talking about the OG. This is Recipe AI, which is the one that we have at SWMLS that we use to look at images and give us insights into the images. And so, that's one of the things that's happening now is we got imaging working, right? And then you've got video, right? And then you've got summarizing, and there's all these different little plug-in tools that you can use. What I'm gonna do is just go through some examples of some of the things that are being built right now in real estate. Reimagine Home, I think we first learned about this at NAR last year. This is a product that allows you to upload an image and basically say, redesign it for me. I'd like to know what it looks like. So you can upload your image and just like that, well, it's working on it. It'll redesign it and give you different ideas. So basically, you know, in one thing I want to make very clear, this is all commoditized. All these tools are out there for anybody. You know, all the nerds are already using this stuff, right? So if you're helping somebody buy a home, they may have already gone out there, grabbed the photos off the IDX and redesigned it the way they want to do it, right? So understand that people are going to be using these tools more and more, and that's more what I want to talk about. So this is just an example of that one, right? Some different designs of the same room that somebody can use. So that's one of them that's out there. The other one that's along that same lines, which is, well, I got to go to my list. This is my list of all the different tools that are out there. HomeBite. So let's look at HomeBite. So HomeBite is a listing portal, but it's much more. So when I say listing portal, think Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Trulia, right? So this is a listing portal where they have an IDX feed, meaning they have all the listings just like all of us can get. But what they've done now is layer AI on top of it, right? So this is going to be very common. We're going to probably see stuff like these tools like this coming into Zillow and some of the other ones too. So let's see. Home search, it's actually kind of using a ChatGPT type tool to say, show me a list of all the homes that had a price reduction, right, recently. But then when you go to back up here, home search. So, okay, it knows we're in Albuquerque already. And let's take a look at a home here. So here's a property listing detail page. At first glance, it looks like any other, you know, home search site, right? They're all very similar. But now I'm going to get back to this where it says reimagine home with AI, but it has a bunch of additional things in here where you say, let's see, tell me about this neighborhood. You know, this is is this home a good deal? Let's look at that one. So basically what it's doing is AI to analyze that listing and tell somebody if it's a good deal or not. These are the type of tools that our customers are going to be using. So you need to know about them and know that they're out there. And since you're in this room, you're probably in the top, 1% of people that understand this stuff is out there in the real estate space. There's an app out there, Richard, I don't remember the name of it, where basically when you log into it, it says you don't need a real estate agent. We can answer all your real estate questions right here. Right? These things are out there, and I'm not telling you to scare you. I'm telling you to be aware of it, to know that this stuff is coming. If you want to be scared, you should have been on the meeting that Richard and I were on yesterday. Sorry. That's all the commission lawsuits and stuff, all that stuff. That's a whole different conversation. Sorry. Okay, so remember the one where I said you can redesign a room? You upload a photo. Well, they've taken this step farther. They're actually pulling all the photos from our MLS, they're the IDX feed, and allowing you to redesign the home right on the website. So it gives you the option. It says, okay, I want a modern look, and I want a bedroom, and I can give it a prompt, give it some extra stuff, and I'm just going to say red. Let's see. And so it's actually using, again, an image generation AI to redesign the room as somebody's actually sitting in their, computer at night, looking at homes for sale and seeing what the room would look like if they like it. Yeah.
Do you know if it'll only do it on like a vacant house or if it has furniture in there? Well,
I think I've seen both. Yeah. I don't know if this specific tool. So
I think
I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but okay.
AI is not
Right.
perfect.
You know, but again, this is more just
That's
to give you an idea that if we're in early, yes.
Data out is only as good as data in, right? So the more information you put in or the more information you have into the prompt, the more clear of a result you'll get to what you
You
would.
brought up a really good point. Does everybody know what a prompt is? Okay, a prompt, not necessarily a question or like, searching for something on Google. It's basically giving the tool, the AI instructions, right? And there's a whole thing about prompt engineering and how to build it out. And you say, act like a experienced real estate agent and, stuff like that, and do it in a casual tone and all that stuff. That's with ChatGPT. Okay, so I wanted to show you that tool. Another one that's out there is a floor plan tool. Again, it's AI. It's called Get Floor Plan, and it allows you to basically draw in a picture
With coffee stains.
with coffee stains and create a kind of virtual floor plan image. I haven't really played around with it, but it is out there. I just want you to be aware of it.
I did play around with that.
Okay.
Actually, I paid for it. So recently I had a buyer, took him to LGI Homes and he fell in love with his home. We put an offer in on that home. And we were walking around the house and he's like looking around and he's like, man, I don't have a girlfriend or a wife or anything. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with the place. He's like, I need somebody to help me do like interior design or whatever. And so I was like, AI, right? So I went to Get Floor Plan. I just took the floor plan without measurements or anything off of their website, dropped it into Get Floor Plan. And then the following day, they sent me a link with the 2D, like multiple 2D pictures of that floor plan with it all basically virtually staged. But what was really cool was that they also gave me a 3D version of that as well. So you can actually do like a virtual tour of that home with those renderings. So that was really cool. It was a way to send it to him, show him like, oh, this can give you ideas on where you can put the TV, the couch, the beds, like all that stuff. Really cool.
Speaking of virtual walkthroughs, here's another one, fly-throughs. And it is basically you walk around the house with your iPhone. I don't think they have an Android app, but you walk around the house with your phone and you upload it and then it stitches it all together and oh man, it's making me car sick. But it basically stitches together an image, a walkthrough of the property. Obviously, you can kind of do that with Matterport, not very well. But again, this is just another example of the type of things that we're seeing in the real estate space. And what's going to happen is, you guys all know this, I know Richard knows this, is, all these tools are going to come out, right? You're going to try this for free and do this and try this and this. They're not all going to make it, right? But we don't know what's going to stick and what's not going to stick. The idea is, I love to just try out new stuff and see what's going to be the latest and greatest. And so that's one of them. So the next one next kind of department I want to get into is market analysis. That's something I know a little bit about. It's going to put me out of business. This is one, it's called Plunk. Adrian had wanted me to look at this one. And what they're doing is they're taking data from a lot of different sources. They're getting listing data, they're getting sold data, maybe, I'm not sure, in our market, that's a whole, there's a lot of people getting sold data that aren't supposed to be in our market, right, Richard?
Yep.
We don't want to talk about that.
Nope.
But again, this is something that your customer can go to and say, hey, I'm looking at this. I just happen to just plug this address in. I don't know, it's just random in Albuquerque. And it's got what they call a home ticker, gives you an idea. It's an AVM. So if you don't know what an AVM is, think is estimate, right? It's just an automated valuation model. And it's giving an idea of what it might be worth. But then it's got these other tools like, okay, if you remodel it, it could be worth this, right? And remodel upsize, right? It does, oh, here it is down here, recommended projects, expand the first floor, could add $58,000, so on, right? And then they've got this other stuff, Plunk Labs, I haven't really dug into it that much. But again, these are the type of tools that very soon, every listing portal is gonna have. They're just gonna be built into it. So consumers in many ways could be much more knowledgeable about what's going on than we are. So competitive analysis, that's another one. And I'm not telling this to scare you guys. I'm just telling you that, you know, a lot of the value that we bring can be augmented by a lot of these tools, right? Another one, Smart Zip or Zip Smart. There's a company called Smart Zip also. That's a different one. But Zip Smart, again, this one Adrian had pointed out to me, and I poked around with it before. I just have the free beta version, so I don't have all the tools. This one is designed more for a real estate investor to analyze the property, analyze the market, see what's going on. So it took, in this case, I'm in 87048. And it's saying, what is the forecast? In this case, they're taking the Zillow home value index and extrapolating out where it's going to go into the future. And then they got a whole bunch of other metrics down here to help people decide on a buy or sell. And they've got some mortgage stuff in there. Let's see, what was the other? Okay.
Show them the where you drop the chart into ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's what thank you. All right, so what I have here is a spreadsheet. And what it is the Zillow home value index. Don't confuse that with home price index, home value. So what Zillow does based on their estimate is they can get an idea of what the value of all the homes in the entire market is over time, right? And it's pretty accurate. I mean, say what you want about Zillow. Their data analysis is like really good. So what I did is I dropped the spreadsheet in there. So let's go back up here. So I dropped the spreadsheet in there. It's just a simple CSV file it goes back to 2002, both the United States and Albuquerque MSA, which is our market area. And I said, give me some insights into the data. And it says, okay, in the United States, average home value over the period is approximately, so that's from 2002. So that doesn't help us that much. Median over that period, standard, okay, that doesn't help us. And all I said is just look at this data and tell me what you see here and what are the takeaways. And so now it's saying, okay, in Albuquerque, and what did it say? It said from April to August, home values went up 0.75% in May, 0.78 in June, 0.78 in July, 0.75 in August, right? And then it also shows dollar value increase, again, home values over time. And then what I wanted to know is, okay, how much have home prices changed? So down here, I gave it another prompt. I said, compounded. I wanted just the compounded annual, so it's a CAGR. And I said, what's the compounded annual rate of appreciation over this period from 2002 to 2023? And it's 4% in Albuquerque. Now you guys know that number. And nationally, it's 4.26. So we're actually lower than national, which is actually a good thing. So I'm putting my data analysis. So that's just an example of some ChatGPT things. Let me just, let's see, oh, here's one I was carrying. What the heck is maximum allowable rent? Remember, Richard?
Yes.
You know where this came from.
I know exactly where it came from.
That's right. And it's like, what is maximum allowable rent? So I just asked a question. Here's one. We had a listing. I just copied it. I copied just the basic information, the property description, and I said, write a Facebook post promoting this open house today, list price, blah, blah, blah. And this is what it came back with, emojis and all. If you're on ChatGPT 4, it gives you the emojis.
It loves emojis.
Yeah, and it gave a good description of just to post that. Let's see, what's this one?
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. That one's interesting.
Just recently, if you didn't know, ChatGPT just launched image recognition. And it's on here. I can show you on Twitter. I saw this on Twitter. I thought it was pretty interesting. And ChatGPT image recognition, basically you just upload an image an image, a JPEG file, a PNG file. And so this was the post. It was ChatGPT 4V, which is a visual, just solved the most vexing sign humanity has ever faced, right? And it said, it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Can I park in this spot right now? One line. And it says, yes, you can park, right?
For up to 1 hour.
Again, the only prompt was the image in that one question. So I was playing around with it and I put in some data analysis. So what I did, this is hard to see. What I did is I took the Altos research data, which I get, which tells us active listings, the actual number of inventory. This was just last week. The number of homes on the market, active inventory going back to, what is this, 2015? First and foremost, that's pretty telling what's going on in our market. But I said, analyze the data chart, number of homes for sale in the Albuquerque area. What are the insights and trends here? That's all I gave it. I even said Albuquerque area, it probably would have figured that out itself. But basically, this is the takeaway. Again, just from an image, it said overwhelmed decrease in inventory, yearly fluctuation. So it basically picked up that you know, we have these seasonal patterns, you know, throughout every year, very common, except in 2020 and 2021. And then stability, sharp declines in 2020, slight recovery in 22, 23. And then so on. And insights, constant decrease in inventory might suggest higher demand for homes, reduction in new homes built in the Albuquerque area. And so, you know, it's kind of extrapolating, trying to come up with some insights based on that. So this is the type of stuff that.
I like how at the end it even told you how much, like, what data to give it. It said to get a comprehensive view, it would be helpful to have additional data.
Right.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. Yes.
What additional to give it to further insight? That's awesome.
Yeah. And that, yeah, economic indicators.
And what I like about this is, like, you know, we have InfoSparks, and InfoSparks does a really great job of giving you a graph. But most of you in this room are probably not statisticians, and you don't really know how to explain that graph once you have it, right? So here, using this, it can give you at least an outline of which direction to head. I may not say it word for word, but at least let you know what to talk about. And then just to be clear, this is part of the upgrade of ChatGPT, right?
Yeah,
which is $20 a month.
Yeah, $20 a month.
It's you know, you probably spend more than.
We haven't even got into plugins, and plugins are a whole nother thing, and we're not going to go there. Here's another use case. I'm just going through stuff I've used this for. So we were getting ready for a radio show, and it's like, okay, let's do a show. Let's talk about the difference between a condo and a condominium, right? And so I said, okay. So I just asked it, list the difference between condo and condominium, pros and cons of owning, and it gave me a nice bullet point list. I mean, obviously, I wanted to make sure it was all accurate, but it was great. It gave me a great list, some talking points to do that. It was your boss calling. And again, just another use case scenario. I've seen some great examples. Somebody's like, okay, I'm going to do a buyer webinar, or first-time home buyer webinar, or first-time home buyer program. It says, okay, give me the list, and then say, okay, give me what I should talk about in that. So I mean, it's again, use it as a creativity tool. But we all know what was the quote? Don't let motion. Don't confuse motion for action, right? Don't confuse doing a lot of stuff for actually getting anything done. And that's really easy to do that on something like this. Mm-hmm. We know what our top 5 jobs are as a real estate agent, right? It's, lead generation, lead follow-up, it's going on appointments. What's the other one? What's the other 2? Going on appointments, negotiating offers. Role play. Thank you. Those are the 5. And never forget that. Never forget that lead generation is your number 1 job.
Does anybody feel overwhelmed?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? So one thing, because
I know you're not.
This is session 4, right? So we've had 3 other sessions, and the QR codes that you're seeing, there was one up on the screen earlier. There's one in the back of the room. Those QR codes have the replays for the other sessions. And in those sessions, we did talk about prompts. We did talk about content creation. We did talk about task management. We had things that we specifically talked about and dove into those AIs specific to those subjects. And one thing that we did talk about when we were talking about ChatGPT was that if you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't really know how to prompt it, ask the ChatGPT, like literally, like that's one prompt that I showed up on the screen in one of those classes. Was like, here's who I am, here's what my business is. What do you need to know from me in order to help me create content and do the things that I need to do in my business? And ChatGPT will spit out a list of what it needs from you. So you can train it. It can train you and you can train it. Right?
It'll train us to communicate better and do it too.
Right.
Let me, just in a couple minutes here, show you some of the other stuff we're doing. So we've been doing this radio show podcast for a long time. And what I've been doing is repurposing the content. So we record a half hour of audio. I use this tool called Cast Magic. And again, it's kind of combining a bunch of different AI tools all into one. And so first and foremost, you upload your audio recording and it does a full transcript for you, transcribes it really well, right? So you get a full transcript, okay? Then it has an AI content creator built into it. So it has all these different prompts in the back end that allow you to basically extract any information you want out of that transcript, right? So this is now unique content, right? Which is a big deal that now we can repurpose. So it gives me titles, give me YouTube keywords, clip finder. I wanted to show you one though, like email newsletter, like if you do, long form podcast and you have an email list, it allows you to do that. Some key topics and bullets that were discussed, some different some tweets for YouTube, different questions that came up, threads. Is Threads still around? YouTube description. So it gives you a description to use. So I post this on YouTube, right? But it gives you an actual description that you can use based on the content that's discussed in there. Gives you a Facebook description. They'll take it and write a full blog post based on the content that was discussed in there. Again, these are all just prompts that you put in the back end. YouTube title, and this is my favorite. It's the prompt, I forget exactly what the prompt was. It's basically write a children's story, write a children's book based on this content in the style of Dr. Seuss. And it says, in the Albuquerque town where houses are found, Tego and Tracy and Tego ventured all around. They talked about condos, townhomes, and more, and shared their knowledge galore. They started with the question, oh, so grand. What's the difference between condos and land? Tego explained. So this is.
Can you please publish that?
Please.
I did one actually.
I definitely would buy that.
I took this and then I put it into, sorry, I'm really gonna blow you guys away here. 11 Labs, do you know what 11 Labs is?
Yeah.
Okay, so 11 Labs is basically text to voice generation. And had it read that, and then I put some images, AI generated images around it too.
This stuff is nuts.
So
Just nuts.
we're in a new world, folks.
We are.
Again, but does it equate to taking better your clients? That's what you gotta decide. You gotta make sure you're not just spending time like I do on stuff that doesn't generate anything.
Absolutely. So before we close out, does anybody have any pressing questions? Concerns? Lots of
Concerns. It's a loaded
Lots of
question.
concerns. Yeah.
So for like the 3D models and the live coding is what it's called, are we allowed to like post those on MLS with our photos and everything?
Yeah,
You wanna address that?
as long as it's accurate, it's, but it would just be a video in that case. So you would just upload it as a video. But so, I mean, of course, the same stuff applies. If AI is going through there and it's, I don't know, taking out power lines or adding stuff that isn't there or things like that, no.
You just need to check it. first
Right.
and make sure.
But as long as it's accurate, absolutely.
We had a photographer, I won't mention who it was, it was a dead brown front yard and he sent the photo back. So, oh, I fixed the front yard. It's this beautiful green grass. Like, yeah, no, we're not gonna use that. No.
Yeah.
Looks great, but no. And virtual staging obviously is a thing and it's more and more common. I know Richard would agree with this.
Yes.
If you do it, do one photo of the vacant room and then one photo
Right.
with the virtual staging. So people understand that it's virtual, or maybe even just watermark it as virtual staging or something like that. We don't really have a rule about that, do we?
Not yet, no, but it certainly is a best practice of exactly what Tego said of unaltered photo, altered photo. That way they're next to each other. It's super obvious. You know, it's nobody can claim that they didn't know because they can tell which one's which, right? So that's just a general best practice.
The house is just cluttered with stuff like a hoarder, and you have it like photoshopped to remove a bunch of stuff. Can you do that?
Is the stuff going to be removed when they purchase the home?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the question is, are you misleading the consumer or not,
Make
right?
it clear in your statement.
Exactly.
Because I've seen that a couple times. Photos are staged. You walk in, you go, you're absolutely correct.
They're staged.
I have
Yeah.
photoshopped a hose out of a yard before.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. It's just where people like I said the power lines one kind of tongue in cheek, but there actually was a lawsuit about that about a decade ago now, right? That was a while back.
There was lots.
So the key is just as long as you're not misleading the consumer, you know, and it's okay to be creative. You know, we encourage being creative. Just don't be so creative that you're crossing lines.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Is the image recognition available on the free version or just ChatGPT 4?
That's the paid version. Yeah, that's in ChatGPT. There's, you know, go to futuretool.io and there's so many tools out there and a lot of them have, you know, are either free or, you know, free to try, all different types of things.
It's gonna be interesting to see what cream rises at the top, right? Because it's kind of like the VHS versus Betamax or Blu-ray versus HD DVD. You know, it's like who's gonna win? But instead of 2 items, it's 4,000.
Everybody's trying to knock off ChatGPT from the top right now.
Yeah.
Everybody is. Google, NVIDIA, Anthropic, like you name it, like they all have their hands in this game.
Amazon has their own now.
Yeah, like
That's Anthropic, yeah.
Oh, that's Anthropic. Okay.
Yeah, well, they put 40 million.
It was
a big number.
1.4 billion.
Yeah.
For Anthropic, yeah. So there's a lot of jockeying for all this, and like we said, there's tons of new tools that are coming out all the time, constantly. So it is gonna be fun to see which ones rise to the top.
Let's leave with one last thing. You want to tell them what the CEO of Remind told us last year?
Oh yeah, I love that
thought it was
quote.
a really interesting insight. So we had the opportunity to meet with the CEO of Remind, which is our tax database software.
Yeah, the comment I really like is that the best uses of AI will be invisible. It's, you know, the stuff that's going to just happen in the background that you don't even know it's happening, but it's making your life that much more efficient.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be the best uses. And that's kind of where I came up with that whole talk about that practical application, because there's so much pie in the sky talking. And another comment, by the way, anybody familiar with the 10,000 hour rule? Tego's heard this before. It takes 10,000 hours to be an expert at something, right? ChatGPT hasn't even been out for 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when people are trying to sell you stuff. But because there's all this pie in the sky stuff, but bringing it back down to that basic level, the stuff you can do on your day-to-day basis of taking a calculator out of your pocket and using it is where AI is going to have the best use.
Can I give an example of a success I had with ChatGPT?
Please.
I had a client moving out of state and their employer required a relocation company. So they wanted to hit me with a relocation fee, but it was my client prior to that. And I tried fighting them on it myself. We went back and forth 2 or 3 times. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put my next response in ChatGPT because I was upset at this point. I put my response in there. ChatGPT regenerated it. I sent that response to the company and they didn't even respond. They just gave me the lower commission I was asking for.
Wow.
So it literally saved me
You
money.
say be persuasive, but nice.
Yeah, like this is what I want to tell them, do it professionally and
Yeah.
honestly, you know, nice,
Yeah.
and it worked. They didn't even, they were left speechless. It just gave me what I wanted.
And what happened there is like a trick of communication is if you're arguing with somebody and you just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, all it does is make them frustrated.
Right.
So you got to find a different way to say it. And what that did for you is it gave you a different way to say it,
Yeah.
right? So like, that's brilliant.
Had I said it my way, there would be no response and no deal, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
We didn't even show you guys Opus Clip, but that's another one.
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff we do cover in these sessions, right? Like he's talking about Opus Clips. We actually went over repurpose IO in the last session, which is really similar to Opus Clips. So if you guys are interested in this stuff, we're doing this every single month, second Tuesday of the month. It's always going to be during the Tech Tuesday times, right? So at 10 o'clock. So please join us for each one of those, because this stuff is fun and it's not going away. Thank you all for coming out. Absolutely. And thank you, Richard and Tego, for joining us today. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you guys need the recordings, that little QR code right there will have this recording as well as the last.
Oh,
three
you didn't
that
tell
we
me
did.
that.
So be sure to
What did I
grab
say,
that
stupid?
QR code. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
That was good stuff.
Thank you so much.